Good evening. All right, this is a little bit of a story of how God has brought us to where we are now and where we're going from here. For those of you who don't know my family, this is my wife, Becky. You can stand.
You can stand. Hi.
Son, Justin. And son, Jared, is running camera number 1. And then Ethan's right here. And that's the Graves family. Well, this is the logo for our ministry that we're beginning. And you notice here, relationships, gospel, hope. And I hope that this is going to be very informative, and this is something that we can grow into with Grace Baptist Church. Ephesians 5:14, awake, O sleeper, and arise from the dead, and Christ will shine on you. Awakening can happen in different ways. You can have spiritual awakenings to salvation. You can also have spiritual awakening from a Christian perspective where you are reinvigorated to service. You can have awakening in a physical way, in health and prosperity, in dignity, in realizing that just because you're in a poverty-stricken country that God does have a plan for you and that God can do great things through you. So what is Haiti Awake? January 12th of 2010, there was a devastating earthquake in Haiti. The estimates of the people who died is somewhere 150 to 200,000, as high as 300,000 that died in a country of 7 million. And when that earthquake happened, Haiti was already one of the poorest countries in the Western Hemisphere. And in almost an instant, they became one of the poorest countries in the entire world. And that fall of 2010, I read David Platt's book, Radical. For those of you who have read it, it challenges you in sort of an irony, tongue-in-cheek way. The title is Radical, but what he presents is that the things that God demands of us, that Christ demands of us, and has a right to demand of us, are things that we would consider radical, that society would consider radical, and most Christians would consider radical. And those include the concept that he presents in that book that the Great Commission is to every Christian. Jerusalem, Judea, Samaria, and the uttermost parts of the earth is for everyone. It's not Jerusalem, Judea, and for those of you who are called as missionaries, Samaria and the uttermost parts of the earth. His challenge is that there's no such thing as a calling to be a missionary. We are all missionaries. We all have the responsibility of the uttermost parts of the earth. Practically speaking, we answer that call and obligation through giving and missions and supporting missionaries and praying and sending people out from our church. But then there's people in the church that have the ability and willingness to go to be able for that church to be able to fulfill that. So first, it was a radical decision. It was a decision that in the fall of 2010 that I needed to do something in missions. I always had a heart for missions, and I always thought, I'm a tax attorney, but I came up sort of blue collar through working many jobs and a mechanic and Army Special Forces and JAG officer and retired there. And there's many times that I sit in front of my computer and think, well, how did God bring me to train me to do all these things, and then really this is what He's supposed to have me do? And so I said, something, we need to look out. We need to look somewhere else. And it just so happened, because it was 2010, that Haiti was very much in the news. And it was close, and it was poor, and it had need. And so I said, well, I'll take my family there. And so I approached Becky with this proposition that we take the family to Haiti. And it was explained to me that you could die many different ways in Haiti, and that it was not a good idea for the family to go to Haiti. So I continued that conversation, and it ended in a conversation in which there was some tension, and the conversation was something to the effect of that I was acting, very too spiritual or something like that. And I said, something, my wife is a godly woman. My wife is more of a godly woman than I am a godly man. And if God was calling me to do something, God was going to call her to do something. I was completely convinced of that. And so when I just prayed. I said, Lord, I'm not going to mention it anymore. So fall of 2011, Becky said, hey, I found this group, Mission to Haiti, that was in, they have this team in the spring, and that was March of 2012. And that was the start. We went on our first mission trip to Haiti in 2012. Becky went back again in October. We continued to go back on, and 2012, 2013,